so special and is making this happen. And we thank you so much for being here. I will try to cover my mom's life story as best as I can. Some things might not be 100% right on. We're still working on some of the details, I think. But I hope all of you afterwards will stay. We have food and we have cake, which if you knew my mother, you knew cake was the number one. And almost right up until her last breath, yes, cake was wonderful. So we've got some of her favorites here. Please stay as long as you like. And then we can all remeet, because I feel this is like a reunion. I feel like Mom's looking through my eyes and saying, oh wow, it took me to go for all of us to be in the same room. So this is so special. We also have slideshow pictures happening in the reception room that goes right from Mom in Germany, her childhood, her parents, right up to current. So some of you will recognize them. Mom was born on July 12th of 1930 as Olga Kruger in Alexandrówka, Poland, which I believe later became Germany, to the parents Helena and Leopold Kruger, the sister to Emil, Elsie, and later Helen. Mom's life was never easy right from childhood. She had to work very hard as they owned a potato farm and everyone had to pitch in. At age 6, she was already left alone in charge of an entire farm. Her parents and older siblings had to get jobs. And if that isn't unbelievable enough, she also had a 1-year-old baby sister to take care of. Today we don't allow a 6-year-old to walk to school by themselves, let alone mind a farm and a baby. There were many stories. Mom became very attached and connected to her animals. She talked of cows, chickens, goats, and her most favorite, the sheep and the horses, especially one horse named Fuchs, which in English would be Fox. He was her best friend. She always talked about him, and she always told me that she talked to him. As to baby sister Helen, there was also a story or two about that. Being only 6, when the baby cried, Mom rocked the cradle, and sometimes so hard the baby fell out. On one occasion, she attempted just to muffle the cry and put a pillow over little Helen. Then suddenly the crying stopped. Mom quickly removed the pillow and saw the baby was already starting to turn blue. That scared her so much. She never told anyone, nor tried that one again. Aunt Helen now laughs about these stories. But we are so glad that she survived well, as I'm sure is her youngest son, Henry Kirsch, who is in our midst today. Thank you so much for coming. By 1945, the family left Poland, not by choice, but because of World War II. The Russians were coming, so they had to flee in the night suddenly, with maybe 1 hour only to pack. Apparently their mom grabbed an apron and filled it with as many shoes as she could gather up, only later to find pairs didn't match. 2 horses and a buggy. In the mid of the night, the family escaped. Their mother by this time was already very ill and had to lay down in the back of the wagon. Brother Emil was off to war. For 4 weeks, day and night, with the constant sound of bombs around them, they fled to Germany, leaving everything behind. The 2 horses were becoming so weak. When her father wanted to whip them, Mom would not allow that, knowing they wouldn't survive. So she'd stop the wagon, get down, and talk encouragingly to the horses as they always continued again. Obviously, she was a horse whisperer before her time. These horses got them safely to a little place called Heilingen in Germany, and then the horses collapsed. The only place the family could find to live in were 2 rooms above the old schoolhouse, where they lived for a few years. Mom found work on another farm, but sadly 1 year later, in 1946, their mother Helena did pass away with stomach cancer. Mom was so devastated to lose her mother at only age 16. She often would talk about how she was strengthened. Okay, on the lighter side, I do have to mention that Mom always loved to laugh and find joy in the simplest things. And apparently she was quite a prankster too. Not to hurt anyone, but just good creative fun, or to teach a really good lesson. They used to sleep on straw beds, so before bedtime she would take the straw, and in the middle she'd push it aside and slip in a bowl of water. Of course, we know it was freezing cold water. And then you spread the sheet over nicely. So when the person went to bed, well, surprise, surprise, someone got a nice cold shower they didn't expect. The only drawback was you had to remember to check your own bed every night because the favor was sure to be returned. Outhouse stories, I think, were my favorite, though. One in particular, apparently the church outhouse for a time was targeted by some boys in the neighborhood. And they would regularly go and tip it over the night before church, thinking this was really, really funny. So Mom figured out how to outprank them. She got some others together, and they took the outhouse and moved it beside the hole. Well, you know what happened. In the dark, of course, these boys all fell right in the hole. Apparently, they didn't smell so good for quite a while after that. However, that was the end of the outhouse tipping problem, and no police were necessary. On March 1st, 1948, Mom with her father and 2 sisters came to Canada on the Beaver Brae ship, which landed in Halifax, then boarded a train all the way to Wetaskiwin, Alberta, as Mom's uncle Adolf Kruger sponsored them to come work on his farm. And actually, I just found out today that Mom's cousin, Art Kruger, who many of you know is in our midst here, Pastor Art Kruger, and that was his father. I didn't know that until right today, so thank you, Art. So Adolf Kruger did sponsor my mother, her 2 sisters, and the father. Here she worked until she met her dad, Edmund Sempf, through the church, and they married in 1950. 4 children followed. After Edgar, the oldest, was born, they moved to Edmonton, Alberta, where the rest of us were born. In 1957, our dad decided to come to Ontario as he had Sempf relatives in St. Catharines. With a very small trailer hooked onto the back, we all journeyed across the country, and apparently this was our home for about the next 6 months. A family of 6 in a small trailer. Finally, we settled here in Kitchener, and I believe the, at the time, German Church of God was what made that decision. My memories began at our house on Frederick Street, which is actually about a half a mile just down from this road, is where we grew up, right where the center of the square is now. My father's business was being a landlord. He owned some rental houses in town, so Mom had to run the family and work very hard for him. We lived in this huge 3-story rooming house on the main level, along with about 6 roomers upstairs. Mom regularly cleaned the entire building, did all the beddings, and all that was just an old wringer washer in the basement, and then hung everything on a wash line outside, no matter what time of year it was. I was by her side a lot helping, I remember that, but I'm not sure if I helped all that much. I so enjoyed feeding the laundry through that wringer, but for some reason it kept getting stuck, so it must have been a faulty old machine. Kitchener became our long-term home, at least until my siblings as adults left and moved around to other countries and provinces. Mom was always a person who, no matter what circumstance or endurance, she always found a way to handle it. Because of the war, she had only grade 6 education, but spoke Polish and German, then English later in Canada. She even taught herself how to fluently read and write English, although with her writing English, she needed to know German to fully understand that. One thing Mom never learned or had to do before she married was cooking or baking. Well, she sure changed that around, for she became an amazing cook. We were raised on great home-cooked meals, and her baking, well, she became quite famous and loved for her home-baked skills. Our kitchen was always such a warm, yummy, good-smelling place to be in. She also loved music, spiritual music, as well as German folk songs, especially German Christmas songs. They just made her come alive. She also loved to sing. Around the home she'd sing, while working, on the many road trips, and in church. Music always brightened everything up. In her late 40s, Mom began working as a custodian at Sears, bathroom cleaning for most of the day,